Somewhere out there right now, a woman over 60 is standing in a fitting room, holding a beautiful blazer up against herself in the mirror, checking the price tag with a small wince, and quietly putting it back on the rack, convinced that looking genuinely elegant simply isn't in her budget anymore. Not at this stage of life, not with everything else competing for her money. I want to stop that thought right here, right now, before we go any further, because it's built entirely on a myth the fashion industry has quietly, comfortably benefited from for years. Elegant clothing and expensive clothing were never actually the same thing, despite how effectively certain brands have convinced generations of women otherwise through clever marketing and inflated pricing tied almost entirely to a logo rather than genuine quality. There are brands out there right now today ones many women have simply never heard of before, or have walked right past on a rack without a second glance, assuming they were either too plain or somehow not quite special enough, that are quietly, consistently designing beautifully specifically for women exactly our age. These brands use better fabrics than you might expect, thoughtful, considered cuts built around how mature bodies actually change and move, and prices that genuinely won't make you wince at checkout the way so many other options do. Meanwhile, and this is worth saying plainly, some of the biggest, most expensive, most recognizable names in fashion are charging genuinely premium prices for pieces that don't even fit or flatter a mature body particularly well, relying almost entirely on brand recognition rather than actual design thoughtfulness to justify what they're charging. Today, over the course of this entire half hour together, I'm going to introduce you to 5 specific brands that consistently deliver elegant, genuinely well-made clothing at prices that actually make sense for a real budget, brands that authentically understand exactly what women over 60 want and need from their clothing, without the inflated price tag some bigger, flashier names rely on purely for the logo stitched into the collar. We're going deep today, not just naming 5 brands and moving on quickly, but actually explaining what makes each one genuinely worth your attention, how to shop each one strategically to maximize value, and what to specifically look for within each collection. Brand number 3 completely surprised me the first time I discovered and properly explored it, and it might just become your new favorite too the way it quickly became mine. Stay with me through this entire video, because your wardrobe budget is about to stretch considerably further than you probably thought was genuinely possible. Welcome back to Elegant Beyond 60, the channel built on one simple, unwavering belief, that looking beautiful after 60 was never about spending more money at all. It was always about knowing more information, the kind that genuinely helps you shop smarter rather than simply cheaper, understanding real value rather than just chasing the lowest possible price tag regardless of quality. If you're new here, hello, truly, I'm so genuinely glad you found your way to us today, especially with this particular topic, because this is exactly the kind of practical, wallet-friendly guidance this entire channel exists to share with women exactly like you. And if you're one of our wonderful regulars settling in comfortably right now, welcome back. You already know we love uncovering these hidden gems together, taking real time to explain not just what to buy, but genuinely why each recommendation actually works for someone at this particular stage of life. Today we're spending real unhurried time on budget-friendly clothing brands specifically, the ones that genuinely, authentically understand how to dress women over 60 beautifully, without demanding a designer budget to accomplish it. This topic matters so genuinely much because so many of us have quietly assumed for years, sometimes decades, that elegance and affordability simply don't overlap in any meaningful way, when really there are wonderful, thoughtfully designed brands out there proving that assumption wrong every single day, if only we knew where to look for them. Before we settle in and get started properly, if you're genuinely ready to discover a few new go-to brands for your very next shopping trip, do me a quick favor and tap that subscribe button right now, before you get absorbed in everything coming up and forget entirely. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it genuinely helps this small channel keep reaching more women exactly like you every single week. While your hand is already there, tap the like button too, because it tells me precisely what topics matter most to you, and helps this exact video find other women who need to hear this information just as much as you do. Alright, get comfortable because we have real meaningful ground to cover together today, and brand number 1 might just become your new favorite by the time we're finished. Before we dive into the specific brands themselves, I want you to genuinely understand what actually makes a brand worth your attention and your money at this particular stage of life. It's not simply about finding the lowest possible price tag, since genuinely cheap clothing can sometimes mean poorly constructed, ill-fitting, or made from fabrics that look wonderful on the hanger in the store and turn shapeless and worn after just 2 or 3 washes at home. What we're genuinely looking for here is real, tangible value. Brands that successfully combine reasonable, accessible pricing with quality fabric choices, Thoughtful cuts specifically designed with mature bodies in mind, rather than as an afterthought tacked onto a younger customer's collection, and styles that consistently read as elegant and intentional rather than either overly trendy and fleeting or overly plain and matronly. Each brand on this carefully considered list checks all of those important boxes simultaneously. Brand number 1, Talbots. Let's begin with a name many of you have probably heard mentioned before, but may not have fully explored properly in recent years, perhaps assuming you already know everything the brand offers without actually checking their current collections. Talbots has quietly, consistently become one of the most genuinely reliable go-to brands for women over 60 specifically, and the underlying reason comes down almost entirely to consistency across their entire collection. Their sizing runs true and genuinely predictable across different collections and seasons, which matters enormously when you're shopping online without the ability to try everything on in person before committing to a purchase. And their classic, timeless silhouettes, tailored blazers, well-cut trousers, and genuinely elegant blouses are designed with mature bodies authentically in mind, rather than as a secondary consideration added on top of a younger customer's design template. What makes Talbots particularly wonderful specifically for a budget-conscious shopper is their genuinely regular, predictable sales cycle throughout the year. Waiting even a week or two after a new collection launches often brings significant, meaningful markdowns on pieces that were already quite reasonably priced to begin with, meaning genuinely patient shoppers can build an elegant, cohesive wardrobe over time without ever needing to pay full retail price on most individual items they purchase. Signing up for their email list specifically alerts you to these sale windows before they're widely publicized elsewhere, giving patient shoppers a real advantage in timing their purchases strategically. Brand number 2, J.Jill. J.Jill has built a genuinely loyal, devoted following among women over 60 specifically because of their consistent focus on comfortable, easy fabrics that never sacrifice genuine elegance in pursuit of that comfort, successfully avoiding the common trap where practical clothing sacrifices style entirely. Their pieces tend to skew toward relaxed, effortless silhouettes throughout the collection, soft knit tops, flowing trousers, and versatile layering pieces that genuinely feel wonderful to actually wear comfortably all day long, while still photographing and reading as genuinely put together and intentional rather than simply comfortable and casual. What genuinely sets J.Jill apart from many other budget-friendly options on the market is their thoughtfully curated color palette specifically. Rather than chasing whatever bold, trendy colors happen to be momentarily popular each particular season, they consistently offer soft, genuinely wearable neutrals and muted tones that flatter mature skin tones particularly well across a wide range of complexions, meaning nearly everything within their collection mixes and matches easily with pieces you likely already own in your existing wardrobe, extending the practical value of each individual purchase considerably. Brand number 3, Chico's. And here it is, the brand I promised you all the way back at the very beginning of this video, the one that genuinely, quite pleasantly surprised me the very first time I explored their full collection properly rather than making assumptions based on outdated impressions. Chico's has developed something many other brands haven't quite managed to master successfully: a proprietary sizing system specifically designed around real women's bodies as they naturally change and evolve with age, rather than relying purely on standard, generic sizing that often fails to genuinely account for the natural shifts our bodies go through across the decades of adult life. Beyond simply the thoughtful, considered sizing approach, Chico's consistently offers pieces with genuine style personality woven throughout their collection, interesting textures, subtle prints, and well-considered design details that read as intentional and elegant rather than plain, generic, or overly simple in execution. Their genuinely frequent promotional pricing throughout the year means you can often find genuinely well-made pieces at prices quite comparable to far less thoughtfully designed fast fashion options elsewhere, making this particular brand one of the strongest overall value propositions on this entire list when you factor in both quality and thoughtful design together. Brand number 4. Eileen Fisher. Eileen Fisher sits at a somewhat higher initial price point compared to some of our other entries discussed today, but I've deliberately included it specifically because of how the brand approaches genuine value, differently than most competitors in this particular space. Their pieces are built from genuinely high quality, natural fabrics throughout, linen, silk, and organic cotton prominently among them, using simple, timeless silhouettes specifically designed to last comfortably for years rather than just a single fleeting season, which fundamentally changes the actual cost per wear dramatically once you honestly factor in genuine longevity. rather than just the initial sticker price alone. For genuinely budget-conscious shoppers specifically, the smartest, most strategic approach with this particular brand is watching carefully for their periodic sample sales and end-of-season clearance events, where prices drop quite substantially on pieces that will genuinely last comfortably in your wardrobe for a full decade or more with proper care, making the long-term value proposition considerably stronger than the initial price tag alone might suggest at first glance when you're browsing. Alright, let's pause together here for just a moment because we're roughly at the halfway point of today's video, and I genuinely want to check in with you properly before we continue further. If any of these first 4 brands represent genuinely new discoveries for you today, comment below right now, and let me know honestly which one you're planning to check out first on your very next shopping trip or online browsing session. I read every single comment on this channel personally, and it truly genuinely helps me plan future videos around exactly what you and other viewers actually need most. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, now is a wonderful moment to do exactly that, especially since we've still got one final brand coming up together, and it might genuinely be the most budget-friendly discovery on this entire list today. And if this video has been genuinely useful to you so far, a quick like helps tremendously, since it tells the platform to actively show this valuable information to other women who need to hear it just as much as you needed to hear it today. Alright, let's settle back in comfortably and keep going together. Brand number 5. Land's End. Our 5th and final brand today is one many women primarily associate with casual outdoorsy basics, canvas totes and simple fleece jackets coming to mind for many, but Land's End has quietly, steadily expanded into genuinely elegant, well-made pieces at prices that consistently beat most of the other brands we've discussed together today throughout this entire video. Their consistent focus on durable, genuinely quality fabrics means pieces authentically hold their shape and their color wash after wash over years of regular use, which matters enormously for building a truly reliable, long-lasting wardrobe, rather than constantly needing to replace worn-out, faded pieces every single season. What makes Land's End particularly valuable specifically for budget-conscious shoppers is their genuinely extensive range of sizing and fit options available, including petite, tall, and plus sizing across nearly their entire collection without exception, ensuring a genuinely tailored, appropriate fit regardless of your particular body type or proportions, all while maintaining prices that remain consistently accessible, even without needing to wait patiently for a specific sale event to make a purchase feel worthwhile. Now that we've covered all 5 brands in genuine detail, I want to spend a little time on strategy specifically, since knowing which brands to shop is really only half of the equation when it comes to building a genuinely elegant wardrobe on a real sensible budget. First, consider building relationships with these particular brands over time, rather than treating each shopping trip as an isolated, one-off event. Signing up for email lists across all 5 brands means you'll be genuinely notified when significant sales occur, often well before the general public becomes aware of them, giving you real advance notice to plan more substantial purchases strategically around these predictable pricing windows, rather than paying full price out of simple impatience or immediate need. Second, resist the genuine temptation to buy an entire new outfit from a single brand in one shopping trip. Instead, consider mixing pieces across all 5 brands strategically: a blazer from Talbot's, a soft knit top from J.Jill, well-fitted trousers from Chico's, creating a genuinely personalized, well-rounded wardrobe rather than one that reads as coming entirely from a single catalog or collection, which can sometimes look a bit too coordinated or matched in an unintentional way. Third, pay particularly close attention to each brand's specific fabric care instructions and construction quality when items first arrive, before removing any tags. A quick check of seam construction, fabric weight, and overall finishing quality helps you develop a genuinely trained eye over time for which specific items within each collection represent the strongest value. Since even within excellent brands, some individual pieces will always be more thoughtfully constructed than others sharing the same rack. Let's recap everything we've covered together today slowly and clearly, because I genuinely want this to help you the very next time you're ready to shop for something new. Talbot's for classic, genuinely true to size tailoring with reliable, predictable sales throughout the year. J.Jill for comfortable, elegant fabrics in genuinely flattering neutral tones that mix easily. Chico's for thoughtful, body-conscious sizing and genuine style personality at surprisingly accessible prices. Eileen Fisher for timeless, high-quality pieces genuinely worth the investment when purchased during sample sales. and Land's End for durable, well-fitted basics across an impressively wide inclusive size range. None of these 5 brands require a designer budget to shop confidently or feel genuinely elegant. They simply require knowing where to look and how to shop strategically, and understanding clearly that elegant, well-made clothing and expensive clothing were genuinely never actually the same thing to begin with, despite what certain marketing has quietly suggested to us for decades. If this video introduced you to a genuinely new favorite brand today, that is exactly why I make these videos every single week for women exactly like you. So before you go, please do me one more favor. Like this video so more women your age can discover it too, the same way you just did today. Drop a comment below telling me honestly which brand you're most excited to explore on your next shopping trip. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, now truly is the perfect time to do so, because next week we're covering another practical, genuinely useful way to stretch your wardrobe budget further without sacrificing a single bit of style or elegance along the way. Thank you so much genuinely for spending this entire half hour with me today. Elegance was genuinely never about the price tag attached to something. It was always about knowing exactly where to look and how to shop thoughtfully, and now genuinely you finally do. I will see you warmly in the very next one.